Good morning, everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. So, my time is it's already 10:43. So, I request all of you to read it carefully, my screen share, and I request all of you to pay attention because we have only 30 minutes. So, I want to finish the silent features of India Constitution today. So, I am going to share my screen and silent features of India Constitution. Can you see it? My screen share?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today I am going to discuss the silent features of the Constitution. So the making of India Constitution and the preamble, ideas and philosophy, the two topics are already finished. And today I'm going to discuss the silent features of the Constitution. So I will just come to direct point. So the first point is that lengthiest written constitution. I hope you are familiar with the silent features of this India constitution, at least certain things. If you are not familiar with all the details and with all the points that I am going to discuss, but at least I hope you are familiar with the India constitution because in your high school days, you have at least a social science paper and then at least you have gone through certain points. So the first one of the important silent features of the constitution was that the constitution of India is the lengthiest written constitution all over the world. Okay, and the constitutions are classified into written and unwritten. Okay, written constitution like the American and Indian constitution, and the unwritten constitution like the British constitution. And the constitution of India is the lengthiest of all the written constitution of the world, and it is very comprehensive and elaborate and detailed document. Originally, the Constitution of India contained preamble 395 articles divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. This part is very significant, so I request all of you to pay attention on that. I mean, to try to memorize on this particular part, what the Constitution of India originally contains, and then you will get option. This will be very significant for your MCQ, for your semester examination, for your CAT, and even for your future competitive examination. This is very important. And presently it consists preamble about 465 article divided into 24 parts and 12 schedule. These the present and the original constitution. You should always remember, and it keeps on changing actually because it is a dynamic. The constitution is not a constant one. It is a dynamic. It always keeps on changing. So you should update yourself. And four factors are responsible for the elephantine size of our constitution. Number one is because of the geographical factors, the vastness of the country and its diversity. Why India constitution is so detailed, and why it is very thick, and why it is very comprehensive, why it is a detailed document, because of the geographical factors. The vastness of the country and its diversity are responsible for the for the detail, for the comprehensive size of the India Constitution. And the historical factors, the influence of the Government of India Act 1935, which was very bulky, and single constitution for both the center and the state except Jammu and Kashmir. This one is actually no longer, I forget to remove. Last year I remove it. This up to this point it should be because the separate, of course, Jammu and Kashmir is having um, Jammu and Kashmir is Jammu and Kashmir is having separate constitution, but there's so many changes took place, and dominance of legal luminaries in the Constituent Assembly. So, because of those four factors, the Constitution of India was, so detailed, and they put a lot of things. So these are the certain factors that actually make the elephantine size of the India Constitution. And the next point is that the Constitution of India actually was drawn from various sources. There's so many things that can be discussed. So when material is given to you, you need to read it very carefully. The various sources of India Constitution, the structural part of the Constitution to a large extent derived from the Government of India Act 1935. The structural part of the Constitution of India is from Government of India Act 1935. Philosophical part of the Constitution, fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy derive their inspiration from the American and the Irish. Directive principle of state policy is from the Irish. And the political part of the Constitution has been largely drawn from the British Constitution, our parliamentary sovereignty. There's so many things. And the other provision of the Constitution have been drawn from the Constitution of Canada, Australia, Germany, USSR, now Russia, France, South Africa, and Japan. So these are the countries from whom India actually borrowed the concept of our constitution. There's so many things that we borrow from this from the mentioned countries. And the third point is that the blend of rigidity and flexibility. I hope you know what is flexibility and what is rigidity. Well, kan amendment procedure also taka amend the harsa tak amend may melo ang aka. This India Constitution is a mixture of rigidity and flexibility. This point number three denotes that the Constitution of India is a blend of rigidity and the flexibility. And the Constitution, of India is neither rigid nor flexible, but a synthesis of both. Article 368 provides for two types of amendment. Some provision can be amended by special majority of the parliament, two-third majority of the members of each house present and voting, and majority of the total membership of each house. So some provision may be and or can be amended by special majority of the parliament. But on the other hand, some other provision can be amended by special majority of the parliament and with ratification by half of the total states. I hope you know what is the meaning of ratification. Ratification to state in along name Anita. That is what we call ratification. So to put it in simple, some provision of the constitution for the amendment procedure, it is very rigid. Okay, like atomic energy and the foreign international the international treaty, and there are so many provisions like the basic structure of the Constitution of India, and there are so many points actually that needs to be amended with a special majority. But there are certain points, there are certain things actually that can be amended by a simple majority. So some provision are actually for simple majority, and some provision are for special majority. Omzia chu tren khatsu amen har e mema tren khatsu amend all e mema khatiang ang flexibility all someday ule har sade waka India Constitution akhan. It is a blend of rigidity and the flexibility. If you read, when you purchase book and then you can read all these things, there's so many things to be discussed in this point alone. But if this rigidity and flexibility will take even one period, but I'll just make it short. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time. So what we need to know is just the silent features of India Constitution. So I just make it short. I just discuss in brief. So if you want to know in details, and there are many books on this regard, so you can read it. And the next point is federal system with the unitary bias. What is federal? I hope you will know more about what is federal and what is unitary. Federal feature, what is federal? The federal form of the government. In order to understand this, you need to understand what is federal and what is the unitary. The federal government is that there must be a strong center and the provincial government. So the unitary bias, the unitary government is that there will be no provincial, there will be no state government. The strong center, the strong federal government will take up everything. So the India constitution established federal system of government, but at the same time, it also adopted unitary features. Okay, so it contains all the usual features of federation, true government, division of power, written constitution, supremacy of the constitution, rigidity of the constitution, independent judiciary, and the bicameralism. These points are the federal form of the federal features of the government. But India possessed all these federal element. But at the same time, the Indian constitution also contained a large number of unitary which are non-federal features: strong center, single constitution, single citizenship, flexibility of constitution, integrated judiciary, appointment of state governor by the center, all India services, emergency provision. These are all unitary features. So India is actually the maker of the constitution of India actually mixed those federal features and the unitary features. I mean, to suit actually to make it suitable for the people. I mean, to suit the society setup, the society structure. And so the Constitution, Article 1, said that, India as a union of states, that imply two things. One, Indian federation is not the result of the agreement by the state. Two, no state has the right to secede from the federation. So although India is a federal form of government, but the Union of India is not made up of the result of the agreement. If you look at the United States of America, the USA actually was made up as a result of the agreement by different provinces. That is why the United States of American government is purely federal government. But the case of India is not actually similar with the United States of American federal features. There are so many things, but due to time constraint, I cannot explain everything. So this actually India federal system and the unitary system is very interesting, and these are very significant nowadays. This federal system and the unitary bias, because Narendra Modi government is at first actually, trying to promote the cooperative federalism, and then they say that India's it is very needed actually to develop that cooperative federalism. But after having a clear-cut majority at the center, now the tendency is that they become very they actually try to centralize actually the power, instead of consulting the state government, instead of promoting the cooperative federalism. And this point is very significant for your future civil service examination. I want you to read more about it, and if you have question in the next semester, I hope we may be able to have offline class, and then in that class we can explain more about this. So just now, this is just an eye opener for you all, and just read it carefully, and so that we will study and in details. And the next one is parliamentary form of government. As we all know, the Constitution of India has opted for the British parliamentary system of government. So India is a parliamentary form of government. So presence of nominal and the executive, majority party rule, collective responsibility of the executive to the legislature, members of the ministers in the legislature. This parliamentary form of government is actually, we borrowed from the British Constitution, and we actually, India as a republic country, so we elect the head of the state, the head of the government, who have the supreme authority. Actually, it is the people's government, the parliamentary form of government. So we elected, we the people um, are the one who possess the sovereign the sovereign power actually to rule over the country. Because if we don't want, and then we can change it after 5 years, if we want it, Narendra Modi, we can change after 5 years. And so those things. And the next point is that integrated and independent judiciary. My time is up to 11:15, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, then actually I want to finish this silent features. So integrated and independent judiciary, this is also very significant. India Constitution provide for integrated and independent judiciary. So what is the meaning of this integrated judiciary? Independent is clear because separation of power, legislative, executive, and the judiciary, separation of power. There are no interference in the exercise of power. So what is the meaning of this integrated? Integrated means there is only one Supreme Court all over India. So the Supreme Court is the highest authority. The Supreme Court actually, the Supreme Court is the highest authority, and it is the highest, the highest court of appeal. So the reason why the makers of India Constitution actually proposed this kind of integrated judiciary is that just to promote the nation state. Actually, if we look at the situation of, if we look at the history of the European countries, a nation creates state. And if we look at the condition of India, state try to create nation. European countries that's when in British how te khu enta ola Sweden country te France country te khu ho ku enola an mani nambil te kha ram an tani nation an mani nambil te khan ram an nei vek tani ma se an ni so British how to British an ni maita mo and then France how to France an ni maita khati an khan an mani nam mil zel khan ti khan ram in siam ta se in the context of India we attained independence, political independence in 1947. There are many nations within the Indian sovereign, within the Indian territory. Mizo kan oma notice are ngot te pohin ngai tu taula nam rang state khatnoya turin. We actually try to become one nation. So states try to create nation in the context of European countries. Nation creates state, and it's nam in lung rual to sa intinan to na hin mizo zong hian sovereign state siam don taila intinan nakina sovereign state polo nila all samutang masa in the, but at the present context of India, it is very one of the most difficult tasks is that the state try to create a nation, India as a nation. So it is a very difficult task. So seeing the diversity, seeing the condition of India, the makers of the Constitution of India try to promote the integrated and the independent judiciary. The judiciary system is that just to promote that integration, just to promote unity, and this is the reason why they actually adopt this kind of integrated and the independent judiciary. So the details you can read it, and if you don't understand, you can ask me in the next class. And the next point is that the fundamental rights. So the fundamental rights, you are familiar: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, cultural right to freedom and religion, right to freedom of religion, cultural and the educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. These are all the fundamental rights that you possess, but there are certain changes that it keeps on changing. Some parts are deleted, some parts are added. So what is the latest addition in the fundamental rights? Can anybody tell me what is the latest addition in the fundamental rights? Right to what? Right to education in the year 2001 by 86 constitutional amendment. So the right to education, these are very important. And the next one is directive principle of state policy. And the directive principle of state policy is actually the novel feature of the Indian Constitution. So actually, this is the there are many good things which cannot be added, which cannot be included inside the Constitution, like the Gandhian principle, the Gandhian ideology, and the socialistic principle, and the liberal intellectual. There are many good things which they wanted to add it to the Constitution of India, but which are not suitable, which are not enforceable. So directive principle of state policy. So but they wanted the policy maker, they wanted the state official to be kept in mind while formulating plans. So those important points are added under this directive principle of state policy. Dan an siam na tura khan constitution aling vek boxilo ma se thil thatak tak ni sia kha tam tak om ta chung ang chi achu ta na enforceable the boxilo kha ma se ram en kol na tura ta na thil thatak tak ni sia kha om ta ni khang angchi akha adana turin directive principle of state policy ahi allow chuaka ansiamani. And the fundamental duties, you should always remember that you may say you have right, but duties, it is always actually embodied with the duties. So there are uh, fundamental duties. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment, the Amendment Act of 1976, on the recommendation of Suran Singh Committee. So it was added. Part 4A of the Constitution talks about the fundamental rights. That's all I'm going to now. I'm not going to discuss in detail what are the fundamental duties. So you can read it and you can know what are the fundamental duties. And the next point is that India is a secular state. The term secular was added to the preamble of the constitution by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. Yesterday in the previous class, I spoke about the secular state. The state, the government of India, when we talk about the state, don't think that it is the state government of Mizoram. When we talk about the state, in this IGP, in this Indian government politics, we talks about the whole of India as a state. So the state will have no official religion, and the government of India will treat all the religion alike. So this is what the secular state, what this secular regime is all about. The preamble secure to all citizens of India liberty and belief, and even in the fundamental rights also, you actually found that the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on the ground of religion. So this religion is actually in the context of India constitution, the government of India and the constitution of India is very neutral. Engma tran lamanei lo mo tu kan constitution hi ani. So the other points we will discuss. Altogether, there are 15 points. I want to finish it. I wanted to finish within my stipulated time. That's why I'm a bit hurry. Universal adult franchise. This also, whoever attained 18 years of age has the right to vote without any discrimination of caste, race, religion, sex, literacy, wealth. You know, there shall be no distinction actually. Everyone in India, as long as we are the citizens of India, we have the political rights and universal adult franchise. Mi kum som puret atlin to chuanin vote atlak the mi ka zong zong kan hlut zong in ang vek cheng vai bel cheza nei le cheng som chi nei po kha mo we have the same equal political rights. So previously the voting age was reduced to 18 years from 21 years in 1989 by the First Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988. This point is very significant. Okay, this is very important. So I want you to remember this point. So for your future use, for your this will be important for your semester examination and for your future competitive examination. Uh, be it UPSC, SSC, and the MPSC. This is very important. At what by what constitutional amendment act, on which year, the voting age was reduced from 21 years to 18 years. So you should remember this. And the single citizenship, if you happen to go to USA, there will be dual citizenship, but in the context of India, so we have only one citizenship, Indian citizenship. So this is another important features. And the next point is that independent bodies, there are many independent bodies actually. Election Commission, Controller Auditor General of India, Union Public Service Commission, and the State Public Service Commission. These institution, this commission are actually the independent commission wherein the central government and the state government has no control over their function. Okay, uh, just to promote the fair in terms of election commission, just to ensure the free and fair election. In terms of Controller Auditor General of India, is actually the duty is to audit the accounts of the central and the state government. Sumle appointment suala omem adikem ti en dikturin CAG kan ya hi an lopo mo e sarkar atangin lo on la lawa and is consolidated fan of India atangin lo on la Union Public and the States Public Service Commission hey po state sarkar ina influence thai lo tur kha ania they are um, autonomous. They are autonomous. They are independent. in terms of their power, and while exercising power, they don't have to worry about the pressure from the government. So that is why they are made independent and the autonomous body. Emergency provision. In India, we have the emergency provision, and the constitution provide three types of emergency. Article 352, national emergency. Article 356, state emergency. It is also called president's rule. Article 360, financial emergency. These three emergency are, very important, and you should always try to identify what is Article 352, what is Article 365, what is Article 360. These are very Article 356. This is not 365. Article 356. Article 356 is very important. Many times this Article 356 is imposed on the state of Mizoram during the insurgency period. So this emergency provision, please read it carefully. What are the condition? On what condition the President of India can declare emergency? What are the subsequent procedure that needs to be followed by the Parliament and the President? There are many things that you need to have a follow-up reading. So I'm not going to discuss in detail. My time is almost over. 5 minutes only remain. So the three-tier government, this the 1992, the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, Panchayati Raj Institution, and the municipal um, 74th Constitutional Amendment, that municipalities. This is very significant. So this three-tier government is very significant. So you read it carefully why these are important. So even in Aizawl also, just recently we conducted the municipal election. So these are the three-tier government. These are all the important features of the Constitution of India, and there are certain criticism of the Constitution of India. Number one is that the critics points out that the Indian Constitution contains nothing new, original. They describe it as a borrowed constitution. So some of the critics say that Indian Constitution is not the original. They borrowed from many things, you know there's nothing an original and new one, so it is a borrowed constitution, some critics said. And a carbon copy of the government of India 1935, too lengthy and elephantine size, and the paradise of lawyers. So these are the important silent features of India constitution. And I request all of you to read it, study materials. I'm going to upload a study material in your WhatsApp group, and don't simply keep it and read it and make your fair notes. And this year, this semester, you are going to face offline examination. So you have to memorize, and you have to memorize certain points, facts and figure, year and amendment and article. You need to know, and you can print it or you can make a fair copy for yourself. So you must be serious. Your first cut is coming, and you must be serious, and your attendance link will be uploaded in your official WhatsApp group. And if you have question, no, so I don't have time now. So in the next class, if you have question on making of India Constitution, if you have question on the preamble, if you have question on the silent features of India Constitution, so we can discuss in the next class. So I'm going to upload your attendance link for today. So that's all is my class. Thank you all for attending my class. Thank you. You may leave my meeting now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you.